Oh, you want to ask me a question? Gosh. Happy late Chinese Lunar New Year of the Dragon, folks. 新年快樂，身體健康，恭喜發財. Since I haven't said it already, wishing you all a prosperous year of wealth, fortune, and health in this year of 2024. In the next few videos on my channel, I'll be talking about giving my reviews on some Chinese films, or films based in Asia at least. Some came out last year, some are upcoming that I'll be making videos of very soon, so keep an eye out for that, because I am proud to represent my culture, and I take it very seriously actually. I'll be attempting to talk about these movies, or trying to review these movies, partially in Cantonese traditional Chinese. Well, I'll introduce and recap the film's plot synopsis at least in Chinese, because I know I'm gonna do so bad, as I'm only intermediate level and my Chinese is only good for general conversation. And I went to an international school system, so my English is my official first language, but hey, doesn't mean I'm not gonna try.
Okay.
I guess it will also help add meaning to the actual RyanWorldMovies channel name, as my goal and my intention for this channel is to not only cover those like the typical Hollywood blockbuster movies, but also films that, you know, from all around the world. You know, obviously Chinese films here, Japanese media, which is one of my ambitions for this channel. And Bollywood and Spanish cinema too. I've watched some, you know, movies from that side too. I got loads of ideas. So if you guys are keen on tuning in for that kind of content, be sure to subscribe and like and comment and share. But with that being said, let's get into the actual video, shall we? So in today's video, I'll be reviewing an indie local Hong Kong film that came out last year, but I only got the chance to watch at the beginning of this year, called Band 4 as its English title. 學者中文叫四拍四家族。呢個電影喺上年出嚟，但係今年2月7號呢，我最後咁啱先有時間可以睇。我去睇電影個時候，我覺得我簡單去睇電影，睇完即刻返屋企。但係跟住呢，我睇咗個 movie theatre 個燈仲係黑。佢哋開燈個時候 ，to my surprise， 前邊可以睇 Band 4個 cast and crew， 佢哋嚟咗同我哋傾下偈，睇完之後，我覺得咁犀利，it was a pleasant surprise. But to say the rest in English, so yeah, this is going to be a very special movie that I'll be going over today in particular, because for this movie, I had the rare, unexpected, and should I say lucky chance to actually meet some of the cast and crew from this film. They hosted a small Q&A after the movie, and I managed to sit down with them, and after leaving the theater for like a 45-minute long time discussion about the film. So, as my sort of thank you, and just to say that I'm super honored for them to spend that much of their time to talk with me, I would like to not only dedicate this video to them, and to the cast and crew of this movie Band 4, but also to return the favor to help promote this movie through this review video, hopefully as best I can. And because, you know, I told them that I do YouTube as well, there may be even more videos coming up for this movie down the line, so yeah, I got some ideas, so who knows. In the meantime, let's get on to the actual review. 好啦，四拍四家族，但係要講下呢啲家庭，因為佢哋好耐冇見佢哋自己，佢哋要用佢哋煙浸個食好或者天分嚟同佢哋互相講、互相住，同埋再嚟互相愛。Okay, that's all the Chinese you're gonna get. For all the Chinese viewers in the audience, I am so sorry. Now here's the English version. But Band 4 is about the story of Kat, played by Kei Tse, a talented, aspiring music artist and lead singer for her own indie band of the same name as the title, Band 4. One day after the passing of her mother due to illness, she has a rocky and unexpected reunion with her estranged father, King, or at least that's what his Chinese name translates to in English. He's played by Teddy Robin, who left Kat and her mother 20 years prior. Now King has come back, only hoping to make amends with his daughter. However, when he brings along and reveals to Kat Matilda, who's played by Anna Hisber, not sure that's how you pronounce her stage name, introducing her as his stepdaughter and Kat's previously unknown teenage half-sister, it only further complicates things for Kat, as she is already struggling to raise her own 9-year-old son, Riley, who's played by Ronnie Chan. Now over time, as they're forced to live in the same house flat together, naturally they start to bond. However, each of them is personally tackling and dealing with their own fresh set of unforeseen individual problems, and each of them soon finds themselves getting into and learning about each other's personal issues, insecurities and challenges which put a test to their survival as a family. However, throughout the film, they discover that they share one common familiarity which ties them together: their deep passion and immense love for music, which all of them are gifted in. Kat plays the keyboard and sings the lead vocals, her dad King plays the lead guitar, her stepsister Matilda plays the bass, and her adopted son Riley plays the drums. And through this, they manage to find ways to get through their issues and troubled pasts, and learn to bond, support, and communicate with one another as a loving family. Through the power of music, and hence forming the new band 4 as a family of 4. You know, looking back from when I first encountered this movie until now, I just cannot believe that I'm talking about this movie after everything that I've experienced from it. It all started with me with not just finding films to watch and cover in the spirit of Chinese Lunar New Year, but also continuing my interest in seeing more diverse films out there in the world, including particularly ones that, you know, I go to the theaters to see, that are in my own Chinese, Cantonese language to, again, live up to the RyanWorldMovies name. So when I came across this movie, looking at the colorful poster alone, you know, I thought this was going to be just another one of those typical family-friendly, comedy, campy films that are one of the more common genres here in Hong Kong. But then I took a look at its premise and I realized maybe it's not just that. So yeah, I eventually went to go and see it, and let me just say, I now have deeper thoughts on it. So building off of the basic premise that is about this dysfunctional family, it starts off pretty much as just that. Which, nothing wrong with doing this kind of story, I'm just saying from personal experience of watching many films like this up until this point. So therefore, for me personally, this film could come off as cliche and predictable at first, even as an indie film, because you can just tell where it's about to go. However, as the movie goes on, the story slowly starts to evolve and expand itself. And along with the acting, it brings more depth, meaning, life, and value to the movie. However, at the same time though, I feel like because the movie relies too much on its music, which I get is the main aim, it's as though it half forgets to fully flesh out some of the scenes. Some examples include the big argument scene between Riley and Kat, where they destroy each other's musical instruments, where Kat throws out Riley's drumsticks and Riley destroys Kat's old acoustic guitar. Not only do I feel like it would have been more impactful if Kat threw out Riley's original old drumsticks, which were confiscated by his teacher, I'll get back to that in a bit. But literally in the next scene, after Kat makes up with her dad, it seems that they're happy again, and as though that they resolve their conflict off screen. Or it was as though the argument never happened in the first place. It feels like a loose end that was missing as part of the piece of the puzzle that was this movie. Speaking of Riley's teacher, I guess it is hinted and implied that he also has a history of music, because he showed Riley that he's also pretty good with using the drumsticks and going to the beat. I feel like it would have made a more interesting dynamic between Riley and his teacher, but I don't know, I would have loved to see more of that. I would have loved to see the teacher more fleshed out as a character, because I feel like that's an interesting character trait that I feel like this movie had a missed opportunity in you know, delving more towards. And yeah, I would have loved to see more of, you know, the backstory behind King's band or Kat's dad's old band from the olden days. I would have loved to see, like, maybe a flashback would have been nice, but, you know, some more backstory as to why they broke up in the first place and where they are now. Maybe some updates on where they are now, but I don't know. But yeah, speaking of characters, I have to say that the acting in this movie is really good. Like, they're all musically talented in real life, especially Rondi, man. Like, I've been playing drums for like I've been playing drums since I was 5 and kind of stopped since I was like probably 18. And yeah, the dude is only like 11 years old and he already plays better than me. But yeah, the cast included some first-time actors like Rondi and Anna, and some already well-known like Kate and Teddy Robin. Like, Kate is already a very well-known prominent figure within the Hong Kong music industry. She's been referred in the media as the grassroots diva. And yeah, Teddy Robin is a very, very big, very well-known, very famous Hong Kong English cantopop star whose career extends all the way back to the 60s. That's how long he's been, you know, out there in the industry. And he even had his own band that lasted from 1966 to 1970 called Teddy Robin and the Playboys, so I guess his old band in the film is sort of like a reflection to that in real life. But yeah, the chemistry between the cast is very, very strong. It shows that they either resonate with the characters or the story. But either way, it feels like they're an actual family. They felt like real people with real life problems, and in a way it makes this movie feel like a small coming of age biographical documentary kind of story or kind of movie in my opinion. And it looked like they were having a lot of fun making the movie too. But most importantly for me, like I said, is thanks to their acting that they really bring out the life of the movie. Heck, even one of the crew members that I met after the movie, watching it for the first time, actually makes a cameo appearance in the movie, which I only noticed watching the second time, and once I realized that, I was silently laughing my butt off. But obviously the main thing here is that the music is the main driving force, the heart and soul of the movie. I guess you could say it's this main selling point and main motif of the movie, as a lot of the songs and music soundtrack, especially in their lyrics, actually correlate and kind of narrate the scene that they're playing in. The music really helps to develop, describe, and speak for the characters. So with all this in mind, with how simple and cliche this movie starts off being, so then, what's so special about it, you may ask? What was the point of all this? Wow, bringing back an old segment that I haven't tried out since my Megan review more than a year ago now, so I guess better make this good, am I right? So essentially, everything dials down to the whole central themes of not only family, of course, which Riley best puts it, if you're unhappy, talk to your family. Which, yeah, seriously, he's honestly the real MVP here. Can we call him that? Because he's pretty much the only one actually trying to keep the whole family together. But two, that something as simple as music, as corny and cheesy as that sounds, can be the very thing that can bring a family back together. Or it's the very thing that bonds them back together. And it's specifically their way of communicating, which is exemplified many times throughout the movie. You know, for example, with Kat's old acoustic guitar, that was a major object in the film that her dad gave to her when she was a kid, and there were a few times when the guitar was broken. Once when Kat's dad first abandoned her when she was a child, and she threw her guitar down out her apartment. The second time when Riley breaks it in anger over Kat throwing his drumsticks that his grandfather or her dad bought for him. So I guess you could say that the broken guitar represents their broken relationship, not just as a family or band. But then with music in general, it's as though they lost their passion for music, as it happens at their lowest points. And there's no music score playing in the background, which normally in a lot of films you would have a musical score playing in the back of a very emotional scene, which none is playing here, it's all just silent. And sometimes silence can convey the same emotional impact too, if that makes sense. I don't know if that was the intent, but that's just my personal takeaway. Now obviously each of the four family members are all music people, they're all musically talented, it's clear that they have a wide knowledge of the music industry or the world of music, and they all have dreams of making it into the stage in some way. However, music doesn't have to just do with their own dreams and ambitions, but on a more personal level, we see how music impacts their own individual lives and how they impact each other, both adding to the personal problems that we learn they're facing throughout the movie, and how music helps them as well. You know, for Kat, pretty much her whole world starts to crash down once her estranged father and unknown stepsister at that point come back to Hong Kong. And since then, Kat's fellow Band 4 members were leaving at that point, including one of her bestest friends who was there all the way when Riley's parents were still there. And yes, Riley's parents were there as part of Kat's original Band 4 lineup. And past family trauma is coming back, her dream of becoming a famous world-known music artist is tumbling down. But most importantly, one of the biggest things we learn about Kat in this film is that she suffers from a genetic memory mental disorder. And there are subtle hints given throughout the movie that reveal this, you know, from her writing things on her own hand to remember things, her constantly blinking at times, her being lost in her own mind or staring into space. But in the end, music is the thing that helps Kat remember things more easily. She finds new bandmates with her family, and she realizes that even if she has to give up her dream of becoming a world-famous music star, she can still be happy and playing music as long as she's doing it with the people that she loves so deep to her heart by her side, as her family and friends are willing to take up the big responsibilities just to support her, even just by playing music by her side. So in that aspect, she realizes that she's not alone anymore, and all of that makes up the emotional core of the movie, which I think personally that's just beautiful and wholesome. Now, Kat's dad, or Kang, which is, I guess, his English name, directly translated from his Chinese name, not only wants to reunite with his estranged daughter and make things right by trying to make up for the lost years that he abandoned her, but we also learn that he also misses the old days of being in his own band, or misses even playing music from that era, as times now are changing. As when he was with his old band, it was during the era of the classics, you know, the times of Michael Jackson, the Beatles, Elvis Presley, Queen, David Bowie, which you can see posters of them on the wall of their club bar where they play, or in Cat's music album collection in their home. But also, like I said, Teddy Robin himself is pretty much a veteran cantopop star, so in a way it speaks to him literally as well. Throughout the film, as King tries to get closer to Cat as much as she rejects him, whether it's helping tidy up her room or watching her perform at her local pub bar, he realizes that the past simply can't be rebuilt or time can't be rewinded. So the only thing he can do is just spend as much time with Cat as possible now in the present, because he also knows that she struggles from the same genetic mental memory disease that her mother suffered from, and with music is the biggest way for him to do so. And because of this, he gains the courage, content, and satisfaction to play and join a band again, as though he's playing with a new revived version of the band he used to perform with. He even has a fun jam session with Riley, even giving him new drumsticks to connect with him, so that was fun to see. Now for Matilda, she started off as a girl who just tended to keep things to herself, really, barely interacting with anybody. Obviously not just because she's meeting people she has never known her whole life until this point, but it is pretty much until she gets into an argument with Kat, her older sister, after Kat found out she helped Riley cheat on a school test one day by writing notes on his drumsticks, which causes Riley to get his drumsticks confiscated by his teacher, and after attempting to run away, but instead they find her hiding out at her girlfriend's place to play music with her there. After those moments, it is when Kat and Matilda start to bond. There's also the thing between Matilda and her girlfriend in this movie, where there was a point where she didn't turn up for her birthday, or I don't know, I don't know whether it was implied that they broke up, or her girlfriend was just simply unavailable, and so that's why she was so upset. It is also after that moment that she plays with Kat on stage in the bar, and the lyrics she sings convey or allow her to get her emotions out, so Kat and Matilda bond there. And Riley, well, he's just a kid, really. He's the most innocent compared to the rest of the family, other than putting his passion up for drumming over his academics, which causes him to have bad grades in school, and still be in grade 3 despite being 9 years old already, with the fear of repeating it for a 3rd year in a row.
A 0? What? A few more of those, you'd probably have to kick me out of here, huh?
By the way, that reminds me of another Hong Kong film I saw around the same time called Time Still Turns the Pages. It's another Hong Kong Cantonese movie that I saw, especially with my parents during Chinese New Year, so I don't know when I'll be able to break that down, but when the time comes, hopefully you guys will tune in for that. But the main development for Riley comes from the subplot of Kat being his legal guardian whilst his biological parents are not here, and how this defines their relationship. Which all of that, like I said, I guess gets quickly resolved when he starts treating Kat as his mother figure so suddenly after they had that big argument, as before he only saw her as a very close friend or bandmate, so he starts behaving a bit more nicely from there, especially when he learns of Kat's mental disease. Some of the non-music symbols that I found to have added meaning to the movie in their own way included the growing flower pot that's outside their home, which nothing too symbolic about that, but you know, it starts off decayed and dry when King and Matilda arrive, but through time as the family bonds and Matilda keeps watering it, then the flower pot starts to grow nicely and starts to grow beautiful flowers. Which, yeah, you could say it symbolizes the family's growing relationship over time. There's also a jigsaw puzzle of Lion Rock, which is a major landmark in Hong Kong here. And throughout the movie, the family and Kat, throughout several points of the movie, spend time putting it together. And I see the jigsaw puzzle with having 3 meanings to it. One, it has to do with helping Kat with her memory. It also represents the representation of the family's bond, as Kat starts with the movie doing it by herself, but through time she does it with her dad, and that's one of their bonding moments there. But the picture in the jigsaw puzzle was also where the family band performs one of their sets. Okay, minor note here actually. Rondi actually confirmed with me himself that this is actually not one of the places that they perform one of their sets. This actually takes place in a different locale and site in Hong Kong that is not at Lion Rock.
Wait, we got like a show at
Oh yeah, like Lion Rock there. Yeah, you guys filmed on location, didn't you? Yeah. So in the end, I guess it's just a nice picture, but I couldn't find the place that they performed one of the sets, so yeah, I guess this turned out to be a breakdown of each of the main characters for you, so I guess you're welcome. But also, hopefully, I've done my best to kind of explain that with dysfunctional groups like this, whether you see it in movies or in real life, whether it's a family or a group of friends, colleagues, or just any social group in general that is forced to come back together after so many years apart, that it's essential to find that common ground that everyone has, one that everyone shares both the pains and joys in, and hopefully they can finally bond again that way because they can all relate to each other in some way through that shared interest, whatever that may be. Like the fact that this movie starts off with this dysfunctional family of talented music people, and as they experience their own and each other's problems, their ups and downs, they're facing in life, and how it is all related to their history with music, and soon they become a loving family in the end. I guess you could say it was kind of like a band itself that split up, years ago, and is about their reunion and how they learned how to work together again. Whenever they're going through a tough time, they play music to their heart's content, whether on their own or together, which I feel like is what most of us do in real life anyway. We find things that we like to do whenever we're feeling down. Or if you feel like you can't get back into something because of something that happened in the past, or it's just nothing like what it used to be, then maybe sometimes we just can't be afraid to find others that have the same taste as you, which can sometimes allow you to better appreciate the present and have a new take in life from the one that you used to have. And bringing it back to the subject of following dreams and passions and ambitions with your hobby or interest, whatever it may be, the movie shows that even though sometimes in life we have to give them up either forcefully because it's beyond our control, or due to putting priority in things that come up to be more important over it, or we are disappointed that we cannot achieve them the way we initially intended to. Because sometimes doing your passion with others that have passions either similar to you, or you just want to share your passion with others, is much more fun than doing it alone, you know what I mean? And that's exactly what these characters did, is that they didn't have to face their personal issues or enjoy music alone. They did it together. And in a way, their goals together came together too, and that's what bonds them together. So what I'm trying to say is, yeah, find that common ground you share with other people to help you better bond with them, whether you're going through a tough time or you feel like you're alone. Either because of some past trauma, or you're not able to achieve the things the way you wanted to, find your own ways or your type of people that can help you resolve all those things. Whether it's to support yourself, or doing it together with others close to you. And all in all, just appreciate those around you. Well, at least that's what I think this movie is trying to show, at least from my perspective at least. 好啊，最後呢, to sum it all up, like I said in the beginning, similar to a lot of indie films out there, this one can start simple and slow, up to the point where it can become predictable and cliche for some people, especially if you've seen a lot of these kinds of movies about dysfunctional families before, like I have. And despite my problems with the overall structure of the story a bit, I feel like there were some missed opportunities. However, it is really thanks to its amazing and gut-wrenching acting and some first-time actors, which I think is going to be a great step for them, whatever their careers are going to be. Some long-time actors and their strong, powerful chemistry all together, as well as through the movie's messages, that the overall story is able to expand upon itself and become so much more, bringing more depth, meaning, life, and significance to the movie. And like I said, the music is the main highlight of the movie, where it is unique that the soundtrack and the original songs themselves tell the story and actually in a way speak for the characters. And finally, it was able to show that despite your problems, whether personal or with other people, it's important to find that common ground that you have with each other to better help you bond and bring you back all together. And to me, that is just really wholesome and even relatable and touching to the core. 我想俾呢個電戲 8 out of 10 同埋 B+. B for Band 4. Okay, one last thing before I end on this video. I just want to quickly mention the small local neighborhood type, just very simple settings and locations that this movie uses. I recognize a lot of places they shot the film throughout Hong Kong, which doesn't really say much because obviously I currently live here right now, but that's how local this movie took place, and most likely for those still watching this video at this point who live here in Hong Kong as well, you'll recognize them too. The main reason on why those settings of the movie do actually resonate with me personally is because a lot of them are actually very close to my house and within walking distance actually. Like the fact that they shot the majority of this movie within my neighborhood just blows my mind, man. Like it's just easy to geek out whenever movies film near you, alright? Like, cause it's just freaking awesome. And because I recognize a lot of these locales, I've had this idea in my head for a while now that I've been thinking that maybe I could do a video later down the line that showcases the locations that this film used to shoot at. Which I think will be a fun idea for sort of travel vlogging kind of video, which hopefully can further promote this movie through my YouTube, but is also the kind of, type of content that I'm currently interested in trying to do. So yeah, this is an example of the kinds of additional videos I'm interested in doing relating to this movie. So if you guys are still here up to this point and are interested in this idea and for more content relating to this movie, then feel free to punch that subscribe button in the face! And be sure to give this video a big thumbs up and share the video as much as you can, as many likes and shares as possible, so that it shows it to more people, so that more people are aware of this lovely movie. And so yeah, I'll also see you in the comments. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, despite how verbose I've made it up to this point. 好啦，我冇嘥時間啦。如果你仲喺度，真係多謝大家睇我 video。下次再見啦，拜拜。